With more than 15 years of equine sports medicine and rehab experience, the visionary and founder of Performance Equine Vet Services, an equine performance innovative center. Your host, veterinarian Alberto Rulon, is here to keep you informed on all things sports medicine, rehabilitation, and equine business. This is A Stride Above.
Talk to me. I want you to talk to me about you from birth until now. How did that brand new baby develop and became the great Amanda?
Everyone grab their popcorn and maybe a few drinks because it's gonna be a while. No, but
summarize it for me in 18 minutes.
18 specifically? Okay. So a little bit about me. I was born in South Florida and raised in South Florida by two amazing parents.
The best
parents. And I will get to how they really impacted me to where I am today specifically. But I was born beautiful, healthy. There was a few complications during birth. Ended up having to do a C-section. Nothing crazy. I came out, all was well. And when I was about 2, I think it was about 1, when I started to try and walk, they noticed that I kept walking on my toes and I didn't have much balance. So they're like, okay, a lot of kids are twinkle toes and you see them running around with that. And then my mom started to get a little bit concerned. She's like, she's not progressing with walking as quickly as other people are or other kids are. So they took me in, they, ran a few tests and did a few different things and realized that I had cerebral palsy, which is a lot of people call CP and I'll refer to it as CP. And they realized that I had CP. So in my case, I have like one of the most mild cases of it possible.
Okay.
I'm very, very blessed that it's very rare to have it only really affect one part of my body. And it's really only my legs and my hips. It has caused a few little things in my back, but nothing that can't be overcome. So they started going through that treatment plan of someone with cerebral palsy with shortened Achilles because that's what they felt it was. And that's why I was walking on my toes, because there's a lot of kids that walk on their toes, but like my heel never went down. Like this was the only position. So with that, they started doing a lot of different therapies and the amount of physical therapists that I've been to, and braces, which I don't know if you've seen orthopedic braces. They're not very subtle and they're not very cute. And when you are a small child in the early years of development and kids are not always the nicest, that was kind of the beginning of what I think kind of stemmed from my wanting to not stand out, because I was always the kid that did stand out because I had these big old braces on both of my legs. I was always falling, or I was always having to be pulled out of class to do therapies and things like that. And I always stood out and I hated it. I hated it. And I was like, I don't want to stand out. I want to be normal. I want to be like everyone else. So the braces ended up not being enough to really correct the situation. So in 4th grade, fast forward, during that whole time, we were going back and forth, braces, therapies, this, that, another. And we ended up doing surgery and lengthening my Achilles, both of my legs. And I thought the braces were not subtle. Cast on both of your legs up to your knees, also not subtle. And I was kind of like a baby giraffe trying to figure out how to walk with cast in a new position. And growing up in South Florida, you have a lot of stairs in your house and there's a lot to overcome, especially being in 4th grade. I mean, you're still a kid. And with all of that, got out of the cast, again, physical therapy. So now I can walk flat-footed, but now I have the tightness in my hamstrings, which causes it harder to kick out. So there's a lot of just different things that were going to be difficult. And bless my mom and dad, and I used to resent her for it. And now being older, hindsight's always 20/20. Looking back, I'm so thankful for the way that my parents handled my entire childhood, because I was never allowed to use it as a disability. Never once was I allowed to use it as a crutch, use it as a way to get out of things, even though I did in middle school. I got out of the mile run for PE because I did not want to run a mile. But my parents never let me, besides obviously the fact that like I had something different on my legs than other kids, I was never able to use it as a crutch. So it was, you're going to do all the same things that all the other kids do. It might be harder for you. It might take you longer to do it, but you're going to do it. And I think that lesson is what made me who I am today, because I've held that and have learned so much just from that.
That's just so amazing. So amazing. Thank you for sharing that. We see so many parents that just try to, quote unquote, protect their kids from I'm not sure what, and don't push them to the limits, or at least don't push them anything at all.
Yeah.
And we can see, and it's amazing how your parents did not fall for that, and they were so on point on how they did it. That is just an amazing thing that you are obviously going to be so grateful for that the rest of your life and more.
Absolutely.
So after that, I obviously cannot relate. So I cannot even imagine that childhood. So after that, your life started becoming a little bit more normal. You kept pushing through, right?
I was pushed through, for sure.
You were pushed through. So you were coached.
Yeah, my mom very much. And again, my mom and dad, I'm daddy's little girl. I'm an only child, and I'm the only female. So my dad and I have a very good relationship. And my mom and she took the brunt of it. And I am so thankful for her to do that, because again, now looking back and being older and kind of understanding more about life in general, I cannot imagine how difficult it was for her to not give in, because she knew what it would do for me in the future. And didn't think I was going to get emotional. That was weird. So that is what really helped me, because I fought her tooth and nail.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mom, because I was so not nice. But I remember, I'll never forget this. So I played softball. I was told that I have to play softball. I have to do something outdoors, have to play a sport, which I 100% agree. Even if you're not good at the sport, participate in it, because learning how to be a team is so, so valuable in so many different ways. So I played softball in middle school, which isn't super competitive. It wasn't really that big. We lived in Key Largo, Florida, so very, very small areas. So there wasn't a lot going on or whatever. I played the community heat team. I always had to do something. I tried springboard diving. That was fun. Flexibility is not my strong suit, so that didn't last very long. Did gymnastics. I had to do gymnastics, at least try it. I had to at least try something. And the other thing was I had to follow through for that season. I was not allowed to quit. If I said that I was going to start something, I was not allowed to quit unless I physically was injured. You still got to show up. Even if you're stretching in the corner, you still have to show up because you committed to that responsibility. So I did that. And I remember it was, I think, the second or third day of high school. And I was in 9th grade. And of course, now high school is a whole different ballgame. Those people are mean. They're scary. I was very, very intimidated. And again, I wanted to be normal. I wanted to fit in. I didn't want to be noticed. I didn't want attention, because I've always had attention. It wasn't always in the way that I wanted it to be. So my mom picked me up from school. She goes, "Oh, hey, I got good news." And I was like, "What?" You're on the high school softball team. And I was like, I cried and I cried. And I said, "No, I did the sports. I did it. I'm not doing anything," because I run funny. It's very obvious that when I'm walking, I've gotten a lot better now. There's a lot of things that I do now to make it a lot easier. But I am funny running, and I don't go very quickly. So it's very obvious that that player, there's something ain't right about her. So in high school, no thank you. We're going to traveling teams. We're going to all these other schools. I'm like, I don't like the idea of this. Nothing about this is appealing to me. And she told me, she said, "Nope, you committed to softball. You're going to do something. You have to pick something. You have to pick a sport. So you can pick something." I ended up trying lacrosse as well. My best friend played, and she's very, very good, as well as my cousins. So of course I always wanted to be like them. And I tried it for a while, and the cardio in it was not working out for me. But I loved, the hand-eye coordination. So I was pushed. And if not, I 1000% know I would not be where I am today, because I could easily sit on the couch, say, "Woe's me, life did this to me, whatever it may be." And I think that is with a lot of different scenarios. With me, it was physically. Some people, it's financially. They didn't have parents that were able to help them, and you got, dealt a bad hand. But you can either say the woe's me game and sit back and just say, why did this happen to me? Or, okay, there's a reason this happened to me. I can use it as a resource, a tool to now teach others how I overcome it, or teach other parents. I've actually talked to other parents when I've gone to, I did a dance marathon in college. So much fun.
Awesome.
24-hour dance marathon.
Wow.
You had to be on your feet dancing. And one of the speakers was actually a mom of a son who had cerebral palsy. And it was for the Miracle Network in Central Florida. And this child was part of it. And he had cerebral palsy. And he was, maybe about six. And told his story about how he had cerebral palsy. And his was a lot more severe than mine was. And I took it upon myself to go talk to that mom after he spoke. And I said, hey, I just want you to know, like, what you're doing, I promise you, like, it'll pay off. And getting to talk to her and say, like, I made it, he can make it too. Like, it's possible, because there's not a lot of people out there who want to talk about what they went through or show the struggles that they had. And again, for me, it's physical, but not for everyone. It can be, other scenarios. But giving her that light at the end of the tunnel, we're friends on Facebook now, and she's, touched base with me here and there. That is why, in my opinion, God gave it to me. Wow. Because there's a purpose for me to have this scenario.
That's powerful. That's awesome. And what I see is that there's so many lessons from there that we could probably spend in days defining lessons. But let's go towards your professional. How did that develop from a personal development now into your adulthood? And how does that help you just continue the daily process of getting better every day, improving, and pretty much overcoming any barrier that comes at you? Because obviously, no kidding, you've been overcoming barriers since you were born. And some people, I feel that they have a smooth sailing or relatively smooth sailing, and then all of a sudden they see a little hill, a little mountain, a little barrier, and then they quit their dreams, they quit their aspirations, or they quit their professional or personal development. So you are the prime example on how barriers can be overcome and then continue. Like, it's not like you stop after high school. You then now continue, and then you recently did a huge investment on your life to even take it to a next level. So what's that mindset? How does that, I want to see what's in your head.
So I would say there's probably three components to this that I can think of kind of off the top of my head right now. One, I'm very competitive. I'm competitive with myself. I'm competitive with others. Two, it sounds silly to some, but I want to be known for, I never want anyone to ever say that something was handed to her. She's where she's at because it was handed to her. Yeah. I am very, very blessed. My parents are very hardworking. My grandparents are very hardworking. I've always been surrounded with very self-motivated people, and that was definitely installed in me to be independent. They didn't just figure things out for me. I had to go try and figure it out myself first, and then they would help me. And that was, I think, huge, because now in the business world, there's a lot of things that you're like, hey, Amanda, I need you to get this done. And I'm like, absolutely. In my head, I'm like, I have never done that before. I have no idea where I'm going to start, but I commit to it. And just like with softball, when I commit to something, I'm going to follow through with it. I'll always be honest, like, hey, this is as far as I got. I did what I could, but I'm always going to follow through with it. And I never want to just be in the same place, because that's just my mindset. My mindset is, I want more. Why not? What stands between me and the person who gets a plane? This is an exaggerated. I don't want a plane yet, but
I like it. Yeah. I like it. Yes.
But that's the thing, is like, if I told even some people in my family, if I went up to them and said, yeah, I think my 3 to 5 year goal is I'm going to get a plane, they would look at me like I'm absolutely nuts. And a lot of people would, but why not?
Mhm.
What makes me different from the other working person who has learned how to do multiple streams of income, whatever it may be, to be able to get the plane? And I think that's where society, and I've just went to the conference that I did last weekend. It was 10X Ladies, and I found it very, very powerful to be able to surround yourself with people who think like that, who don't think you're crazy, that look at you like you have 4 heads when you have big aspirations. And when you are in a society surrounding yourself with people who want you to think this big, like get a job, work your 9 to 5, and then go home. And something that my husband and I had this conversation, and it's correlates very well. He's like, there's 2 types of people in this world. People that live to work and people that work to live. And I'm not saying one is superior to the other. They're completely different mindsets, and that's totally fine to have that mindset. But I am very much I am going to live to work. I love to work. I love to overcome challenges. And why not have that passion in something that you're going to get paid to do?
That's right. So, and that's so many people talk about that and how important passion is to happiness, and how it can actually help people find happiness. Because I see nowadays there's so many options, there's so much noise, and there's so many jobs, and I want to start my business, I want to do this, I want to go work over there, and then you try for a year, you don't commit, and then you don't commit again, and you go somewhere else, and then you don't commit because you want to explore more options, and then now you take your non-committal self and go all around, and 5 years later you're still stuck. But something that you just mentioned that it dawned on me is that you have been committing to goals since ever you can remember. And you just mentioned 10X Lady. Grant talks about this a lot, which is how you have to commit first and figure it out later. But the commitment is something so important, because can you find something better, bigger, and shinier later? Yeah, you can find something better, bigger, and shinier maybe, but you have to commit, because if not, you're always going to be trying to find something better, bigger, and shinier. And if you have passion for what you do, then it's so easy to commit and overcome any kind of barrier. And I congratulate you for that, because that's amazing.
Thank you.
So that brought you to a journey which brought us to Performance Equine, which of course we have talked about it in other episodes. And from there, it's history. You committed, and you went up on our employee maturity level very quickly, and continue climbing without stops. What I noticed that still on top of that, you probably at some point back in the days, I remember talking to you and going over our year, 3 year, and 5 year, you're like, well, I'm where I want to be. Like, I'm good. And that was maybe not even a year ago, maybe 7 months ago. And what if I ask you the same question right now? What is your answer?
Oh, I'm so far behind. So far behind. And it's actually funny that you bring this up. And this is another thing that my husband and I talk a lot about these things, especially when I go to conferences, and him and I discuss what I learned and things like that, and how we can implement it into our marriage and into just our life. And it's interesting because again, very blessed, very thankful. My parents have helped me a lot of the way. But again, that's what also motivates me, is like, I have to show that I'm the hardest worker. On my tombstone, it is going to say, damn, that was a hard worker and she helped people. That's all I needed to say, because
Awesome.
I want to know, like, I want to make my stance because of the impact that I've had. And with that, I forgot where I was going to go with that. Hold on. Rewinding.
Tombstone,
Before the tombstone.
hard worker, help people,
helping people,
lead, belief lead.
Oh, that's what it was. So we were talking about how now my mindset's changed. So I was very lucky with everything that I've gotten. And then I, in my brain, said, okay, I'm going to grow up. This is since I was a kid. I'm going to grow up. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to have a house and I'm going to get married and I'm good.
The American dream.
The American dream. That's what is what was embedded in me of that is, you've made it. When you have those things, you've made it.
And you got it after 1 year.
Well, then I was like, okay, so now I'm 28. I was 27 at the time that you and I were having this conversation. I'd been with Performance Equine for a year. I went from customer care rep all the way to director of administration. I'm now able to afford the mortgage. I got married and I'm like, okay, cool. No one ever talks about what do you do after that.
Wow.
So I didn't know that there was more after that. I had no idea. I thought I was like, yeah, we're good. Rinse and repeat every day. Go to work. You know, you get your job, you do the things, you go home. I didn't know that there was more. And then I started surrounding myself with people like you, with a lot of the 10X community and Grant Cardone and stuff like that. And all these people are like, oh, yeah, we're just at like, we're just now starting. I'm like, whoa, there's more places to go. We can go places. There's more challenges that we can overcome. This is crazy. So that's where starting to surround myself with other motivated people to do the things that I wanted to be able to do, or at least just start in the path. I still don't know where my end goal is. Maybe I will get a plane. Who knows? But I want another side by side. Like there's little things that I want, but the biggest thing I want to do is be known for impacting others and helping others. So if I can be that motivation that you give me to someone else, that then powers me to keep going. Because I remember you told me you woke up at 4:30 in the morning to go to the gym, and I thought you were off your rocker. And I now wake up at 4:45 to go to the gym.
Yes.
Because I see the value in it, and there's just so many, stigmas of things of like, okay, people are going to talk no matter what. You wake up too early. Oh, wow, you wake up too early, or you work out too much. But then if you don't wake up early, oh, wow, you sleep in, you're so lazy. Someone's always going to have something to say. So I just used it as surround myself with people who are motivated with the same kind of aspirations of going farther. And if you don't, that's fine. I'm not faulting you for it, but I'm going to surround myself with those people that have that mindset because you attract people that are similar to you. So that's kind of what has helped me is surrounding myself with other motivated people to be able to keep going and to want to keep going. Because then you're growing and you're having these wins all together and you're building this community of people who are going farther that are winning together.
Awesome.
And it's fun.
Awesome. One last thing, and I don't want to take you too long. What would have happened if you would have said, I'm good. I have a salary. I have the salary that I wanted. I have the house. I have reached my goals. I am not going to do anything else, and I'm going to keep doing exactly what I'm doing because I am happy where I am.
Based on my personality and based on me, I can't obviously speak for everyone, but I think that I would have been stuck on a hamster wheel that would have burnt me out. Mm-hmm. And I think burnout is similar to that work-life balance situation that people have very different perceptions of. And in my case, if I was doing the same thing every single day, that would burn me out quicker than if I were pushing myself to work longer hours and work weekends and things like that, because it's just it wasn't what was in me. And some people I think are born with it. I think other people develop it. And those that don't want to, that's perfectly fine. But for me, I truly think that I would have been stuck in a position. I wouldn't have been happy long term. Yeah, maybe the first 5 years I would have been good. I am a routine person. I do like routines, but I think I would have been burnt out. I wouldn't have ended up being happy. And because of that, I wouldn't have been a good asset to the company. And then I probably would have gotten fired because I wasn't meeting my metrics because I'm bored. I'm coming in. I'm not happy. I'm not adding value to the team. So I think at that point I would have then job hopped, and it wouldn't have been a very prosperous life for me.
I agree. I agree 100%. I think that having passion and having goals keep you fighting for more and keep you wanting to achieve more. And that gives so much satisfaction because every time you overcome a barrier, is such a big satisfaction. There are several satisfactions, I think, in what you talk about. One of them is completing the cycle of action, right? Committing to something and completing it, that's very satisfying.
Absolutely.
And the next satisfaction is overcoming barrier. Every time a barrier is overcome. I mean, this is why we pay football players millions and millions of dollars, right? They have to overcome the other team and score. And because it's so satisfactory to do that and to see people doing that as well. I could not thank you enough for sharing your life experiences with us, and people are going to benefit from this a lot. I know you're going to do great things. We're going to do great things.
Yes, we have some very big things coming. I'm very excited.
And I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see what's coming.
It's going to be good stuff. And at the end of the day, not everyone is going to have the same mindset.
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to have the same aspirations, and that's okay. But my biggest word of advice, surround yourself with people. Never be the smartest person in the room, and surround yourself with people who want to grow in the way that you do. And it opens your eyes up to a whole new world.
100%.
I like it.
Let's go.
Let's do it. What was that, like 30 minutes?
That was doesn't matter. It was awesome.
That was probably one of my favorite that we've ever done. 26 minutes.
Please give her a call so you get the information of the horse that's coming tomorrow.